Hey everyone, this is Miss Delgado. We're going to learn how to multiply fractions today. So for our introduction, the materials that you need are, you need a paper and pencil. You need, here's the objective. Students will be able to multiply fractions by learning through models shown, and there's the standard if you want to go ahead and take a look at that. So here's our first question. Miss Delgado came back with half of a cake from a birthday party. She gives you a third of the cake. What fraction of the cake did she give you if you were at the birthday party? So we're going to go ahead and get started on this. The first thing I'm going to draw is my birthday cake, the birthday cake that was at the party. So here's the birthday cake that was at the party. It's a big red birthday cake. And Miss Delgado, when she left the birthday party, she had half of this cake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line down the middle to make half of a birthday cake. Like that. Okay? And Miss Delgado, she didn't come home with both halves. She came home with only one of the halves. So I'm going to make a square over the part that she came home with. So she came home with this green box right here. And this is 1/2 to our whole. Okay? And then she gives you a third of this green cake. What fraction of the cake did she give you if you were at the birthday party? So let's go back to this one. She gives you a third of this cake. So let's cut this green box into thirds now. And I'm just going to do it from side to side, just because I think it'll be easier, and you'll see why. So there, my cake is cut up into thirds. This green cake is now cut up into thirds because there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're not focusing on this side, remember, because she didn't bring this home. This was already eaten at the birthday party. This is what she brought home from the party. And she gave you a third, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in yellow, a third of those pieces, because that's what you got. I'm going to just label it as well, just to make it easier for you guys. So this is yours. Okay, and the last question is, what fraction of the cake did she give you if you were at the birthday party? So the answer is not 1/3. That is not the answer. And that's because that's a third of the cake that she brought home. It's asking, what fraction of the cake did you get if you were there? Meaning it's relating to that whole. So we know that we have one piece, since that's all you got, and that's a 1. And our denominator is how many pieces there were originally. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, meaning that you had a 1/6 of the original cake. And guys, you've already done multiplying fractions. This is a multiplication problem that we've just done. And the way you see it, or let me just tell you the problem first. The problem that we did was 1/2, and look at the upper right-hand corner. We did 1/2 times 1/3. The 1/2 came from the half of the cake that Miss Delgado brought home, and the third was the amount that she gave you from that half of the cake. And what we did is, from our answers, we related it to our whole from the beginning, and that's how we got the 1/6. And I just want you guys to remember that our answer will always be in relation to the whole from the beginning. All right, so let's jump into our next question and let's use that concept. Okay, so half of a fourth pan of brownies. So let's go ahead and make our pan of brownies. But remember, it said half. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to do it from horizontally now, just to show you guys that it doesn't matter what you start with. Just make sure the opposite is the different direction. So here's half. So I'm going to go ahead and X one of those out. And we're going to shade one in yellow. Just like that. Okay, so this is our half of a pan of brownies. But now it's saying a fourth pan of brownies. So half of a fourth. So we're going to cut this into fourths. So I'm going to do that in green. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up vertically in the middle and then just add 2 more lines to the side. And here I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember, we're focusing on this piece right here, and I'll just make a blue box surrounding that because that's what we have. We don't have a hole that would include this, and that's why we crossed that out, remember? So we're focusing on this blue box, and we need to make sure that these are cut into fourths because that's how much it says. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do have this cut up into fourths, and it says that it's one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and shade one of those a fourth, okay? And now our answer is in relation to the red box, our whole. So we know that we have one piece of this pan of brownies, okay? And we need to relate it. Our denominator is how many pieces were there total. So we're going to count up all these pieces. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our answer is 1/8. So we had one piece out of 8 pieces when we had a half of a fourth pan of brownies. Okay, so let's just go over the steps. The first thing we did was drew our hole. The second thing that we did was we cut it up. Cut up to 1/2. That's what we did. The third thing that we did is we crossed out what we don't have. The fourth thing that we did is we made it into fourths. We made half into fourths. And then we continued on by finding that out. So the next thing, I'm going to set it up for you guys, and you're going to complete it. So it's similar. It's half of a third pan of brownies, and this is just the equation that it would look like. So I'm going to first draw half a pan of brownies, and I'm going to cut it in half because we're only dealing with half. We're going to X one of these sides off because we only have a half of it, and I'm going to shade in the half that we are using. Just like that. Okay, so now we have half of a pan of brownies, but now we need to cut this up into thirds. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you a few seconds to cut this red box into thirds. And what I'm going to also do just to help you guys out, we're cutting up the blue box into thirds. Remember that. We're focusing on what we have right now. So cut this up into thirds, and then we relate it to the whole. And make sure you make those third cuts on both halves, just to make it easier for you guys to see. So we're going to cut these thirds all the way to the other side of the box, of the red box. And we're going to shade in one of those pieces, and you're going to put it here and write the denominator, which is how many pieces we have in total. Go ahead and take a few seconds and get that done. Finish the problem. What is the answer? All right, let's go over it. And if you do need more time, just go ahead and pause the video. So we right now have half of a pan of brownies, but we need to cut it up into thirds, is where I left you guys off of on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make horizontal lines and cut this up into thirds as best as I can. So here I have 1, 2, 3 pieces. So we are relating it to the blue box into thirds, okay? And we only have a third of that, so I'm going to use my highlighter and shade in a third. So there's 1/3. And now for our answer, we put our numerator, which is how many pieces are shaded in green. So that's 1 piece in green. And our denominator is how many pieces are there total. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces total. 1/6 is our answer. And let's give you guys one more time to practice this. This one, I'm going to give you a few minutes to complete this. Here you have 1/4 of a third pan of brownies. And I'm going to repeat that, 1/4 of a third pan of brownies. Or in other words, 1/4 times 1/3. Go ahead and take your time to complete this. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do so, and we will come back and we'll go over the answer with you guys, okay? All right, welcome back, guys. Let's go over it. And also, I always want to remind you guys, if you need more time, go ahead and pause the video and just complete it so that when we go over it, you have an answer. Okay. So now we're going to start with our pan. Okay, so I'm going to just start with our pan of brownies. Whoop, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so there is my pan of brownies, and I have a fourth of it. So I'm going to cut this up into fourths. Oops, not what I wanted. So I make a line down the middle. And then we're gonna make 2 more lines on those sides. Try to make them as equal as you can. So there I have it in fourths. And so we only have a fourth, and you can also look here, I just clarified here. So I'm going to X out the ones that we don't have. So we don't have 3/4 of it. We just have this sliver of a fourth. So I'm gonna get out my rectangle and just outline that one more time. And so there is my fourth. And here it says we have a third of them. So we're going to cut this up now into thirds. So there's 1/3 and there's 2/3. And I'm gonna go ahead and highlight one of those boxes because we're looking at the red box. Here's 1, 2, 3 boxes. And so we shaded in a third of them. And I just again, I've made these lines all the way to the other side because it makes it easier for our next step. And that is because we know that our answer that we're gonna come up with right now is the one that we have shaded. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put 1 because we know that we have 1 block shaded in relation to the whole pan of brownies. So we're gonna count up all our pieces, including the ones in green over here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So my denominator here is 12, meaning that our answer is a 12th. All right, awesome. So for your guys' homework, go ahead and pause the video and get these questions done or write them down when you can. But number 1 is 1/6 of a half pan of brownies. And number 2 is draw rectangular fraction models of 3 and 1/4, 3 times 1/4, and 1/3 times 1/4, and compare multiplying a number by 3 and by 1/3. So this is just going to help you see a little bit better what's the difference between like just regular multiplying, and that will just dive into it a little bit more. And I just want to say thank you again for watching. Remember, the objective was that you'll be able to multiply fractions by learning through models shown. And just let us know if you have any other questions, and thank you guys so much for watching.